if you're going to do A and B, idea and design, the idea has to come first. So I really like that you said that because I think it's important. Can you tell me a little bit about your process in that idea?
We try to start with that kind of reverse engineering, right? Starting with the result. We try to look at similar things that have been done in my world, because each show, again, we do so much in the TV space that we're often ideating around. Well, we are always ideating around a specific TV show. Those shows have their own worlds, right? So if it's a Western, everyone knows what a Western looks like, right? There's guns, there's spurs, there's cowboys, whatever. Totally different from a sci-fi show, totally different from like a procedural or a law drama, whatever. So we've got tangible nuggets to start with. And so how I try to do it is very much like an analytical approach. I try to, rather than starting with like, okay, everyone just start throwing stuff at the wall, I'll try to start by like list generating. That's kind of my process. So I don't know, I'm totally making this up. Let's say it's a pirate show. I don't know why I picked a pirate show, but say it's a pirate show. Okay. So I'm going to start with a list of everything that everybody knows already about pirates. And you can research that. You can go to Google and say things associated with pirates. Well, there's a parrot, there's like an eye patch, peg leg Pete, whatever. You can come up with a list of 50 things. Then I'm going to come up with a list of tactics that I think are going to achieve our goals. Maybe it's a stunt, maybe it's a party, maybe it's a digital execution, maybe it's a sweepstakes, and there's going to be 50 things in there, give or take. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's more. And then we're going to start to draw lines between the two, right? And that is where the creative light bulb moments start. And that's where you'll start to say, oh, that doesn't make sense, but this would be cool. Or could we do this? Is that even physically possible? Or, oh, I saw this art exhibit where they manipulated light in this way. Would that make sense? Like those are the kind of moments. But generally speaking, I try to do that upfront work. And if I'm running a brainstorm, which I usually am, I'll make my own little brief ahead of time. I'll take the client's brief and I'll try to sort through the things that are really important, and I'll try to cut out the things that aren't. And then I'll try to put my own kind of unique take on it. And then I'll generate those lists so that when we come to a brainstorm, instead of seeing a big whiteboard is scary to me. Like a big whiteboard is like getting in your car for a road trip without a map and be like, well, where do you want to go? So if we have that work done ahead of time, then the first thing is like, let's start drawing some connections, or let's focus on this space. We know within our pirate show that our characters are lost at sea. Let's talk about what it means to be lost at sea. Do any of these tactics make sense for that specific theme? And if it's not working, we'll say, great, we're moving on to the next. But, having structure to your ideation process is extremely important. And, it's so funny. This is not stuff that they teach you anywhere, really. It's just like on the job training. It's like, I don't know if my style is better than anyone else's. I know that it seems to work for us. And it just was crafted over 20 years of like trying different things. Another thing, just, where the rubber meets the road, I would say is like, I'll often give assignments to people ahead of the brainstorm. So every person that comes in, it's like, I want you to think about these three things. I want you to think about these three things. I want you to think about these three things. And each of you come up, or each of you come to the table with two ideas. So that we're starting reacting to something. We're starting in the middle. We're not starting from phase one. That's another kind of nugget I think that's really important. And then again, rubber meets the road, but I think this is really important. I think the number of people in the brainstorm is more important than how creative the people are. I think lots of people can actually be more creative than they think they are. But like the second you exceed, for me, that magic number is like 4 or 5. If you've got 6 people in a brainstorm, 7, 8, I'm just like, it's just too much. I would just say, great, cool, divide into 2 groups of 4, It's
too many. Yeah,
it's too many people because people are talking over each other and it just gets to be too many cooks in the kitchen. So I don't know. Those are some of the nuggets of our process.
I think the idea of having those 2 lists is really good. Like, hey, just a list. You're just saying like, hey, let's chat GBT this thing, right? Like, let's just start with anything that comes up that's on this topic or in this world, this space. I mean, you could do it for anything, B2B, B2C. If it's a medical company, you could talk about, knee replacements. What's involved in knee replacements and the doctors. You could just list it. And then going to the idea of like tactics and engagements, and then like the term you use, connecting the dots, is interesting to me, because essentially at an event, and what a lot of brands are trying to do is connect the dots, is help their customer connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of telling a story there. We do it a little bit differently, but similar-esque on our side. So it's interesting to see how people do it, to be able to sort of push in a direction that they can then, then go create from. So very
Yeah,
interesting.
and I also think it's a question of like, what do you want to deliver to your client, right?
Mhm.
In some worlds, I would think more so yours, like you probably have a certain parameters that you need to work within, right? If someone says, design me a trade show booth, and you come back and you're like, I didn't do a trade show booth, but I did this awesome thing at the hotel for people, that might be like, cool, that's not the assignment. You know what I mean? So it's like, how wide do you want to go? How wild, I suppose, do you want to go? And also, like, how many ideas do you want? What we tend to do, because we live in a world of best idea wins every time, we tend to give a lot of ideas, pretty high level. A lot of them are 1 slide each. Maybe it's 2 slides, but probably more than our competition. Like it's not unheard of for us to deliver 8, 10, 12 ideas. That's a lot. That's a lot of ideas for someone to sit
That's a good amount.
And I'm very, very thoughtful about where did we lose them? Like, what's the point in this hour-long presentation where they go, uncle?
They slipped off.
Yeah, these are all great ideas, but now there are too many and I just can't focus on the one I like. And it's our job to come close to that edge, but not to go over it, right?
Yeah.
Some people deliver 3 ideas and they bake them out more. Some people deliver 1 idea and they go, here's your plan, and I've thought through it from A to Z. So none of those are right or wrong. It's just a question of like, who's your client? What do they want? What are they going to respond to? It's not the same answer every time.
I was literally having this discussion yesterday with my creative director. We're talking about, it's a bid, right? Very, very large brand, super well known for their trade show program. And we were kind of having this discussion as to, we were creating this engagement idea. It's like a digital interactive engagement, right? For there. And he's kind of going down the path of like building it out a little bit, because he wants to present like a teaser.
Yeah.
But he's so invested in thinking it's a good idea, so it's like what you're saying, you could just pitch it along with 3, 4 other ideas along that space or in the engagement area, or you could go all in on 1 or 2 things. It does depend on the customer. It depends what they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish, all of those things. But I'll tell you what, best idea typically wins.